It was a quiet Sunday morning in 1941 when the peaceful waters of Hawaii were suddenly shattered by the roar of approaching aircraft. At 7:48 a.m., the first wave of Japanese planes descended upon the unsuspecting U.S. naval base. The sky filled with the ominous drone of over 70 fighter planes, bombers, and torpedo planes. Within moments, explosions rocked the harbor as bombs struck their targets with devastating precision. USS Arizona, a proud battleship, took a direct hit and sank within minutes, taking with her 1,177 crew members. The USS Oklahoma capsized, trapping many sailors inside. Thick black smoke billowed into the air as oil slicks caught fire, turning the harbor into an inferno. Despite the chaos and destruction, American servicemen fought back valiantly. Pilots scrambled to get their planes airborne, anti-aircraft guns blazed to life, and sailors worked tirelessly to rescue their comrades and save their ships. The attack lasted just over 2 hours, but its impact would be felt for generations. 2,400 Americans lost their lives and over 1,100 were wounded. The next day, President Franklin D. Roosevelt declared war on Japan, marking the United States' entry into World War II. The bombing of Pearl Harbor will live forever in American memory. It galvanized the nation and changed the course of history. But did you know that Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll, played a huge role in how we continue to honor and remember those who sacrificed everything on that fateful day? In 1957, at the height of his fame, Elvis Presley received news that would shock the nation. He was being drafted into the United States Army. The announcement sent ripples through American society, sparking intense debate and media frenzy. Some fans were devastated, fearing this would be the end of Elvis's career. Others saw it as a publicity stunt. However, Elvis surprised everyone by embracing his duty. He refused special treatment and insisted on serving as a regular soldier. As Elvis donned his military uniform, public opinion began to shift. Many admired his willingness to serve his country despite his celebrity status. His famous haircut, televised for all to see, became a symbol of his commitment. During his 2-year service, Elvis served in Germany, where he met his future wife, Priscilla. He donated his army pay to charity and bought TV sets for the base, further endearing him to the public. When Elvis returned from service in 1960, he was no longer just a rock and roll idol. He had become an American hero and admired for his patriotism and humility. His military service had transformed his image and cemented his place in the hearts of Americans across generations. In 1961, Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll, stood in the place where the USS Arizona Memorial would have been, his eyes fixed on the sea below. Moved by the sacrifice of those who lost their lives at Pearl Harbor, he made a decision that would resonate through time. Just a couple months later, on March 25th that same year, Elvis took the stage at Block Arena in Pearl Harbor. The concert, a benefit for the USS Arizona Memorial Fund, drew a capacity crowd of over 4,000 fans. The air crackled with excitement as Elvis, dressed in his signature gold suit, belted out his hits like Heartbreak Hotel and Don't Be Cruel. But it was his rendition of Hawaii Aloha that brought tears to many eyes. As his voice soared over the hushed audience, the weight of history seemed to settle on every shoulder. The concert raised over $60,000, a significant contribution to the Memorial Fund at that time. While the money that Elvis raised wasn't the most by any effort to fund the memorial, it did give the project the boost it needed to get over its $500,000 goal. Elvis's performance not only entertained but also educated a new generation about the importance of remembering Pearl Harbor. His star power brought national attention to the memorial project, accelerating its completion. Laugh and play till the sun went down. Today, as visitors stand on the USS Arizona Memorial, they're not just remembering the lives lost on that fateful December morning. They're also recalling how years later, the king of rock and roll used his voice to ensure those sacrifices would never be forgotten. I often wish you'd come back to me. Thank you to all the veterans out there and those of the public that support our veterans. Jen and I are proud to say that we have served and continue to serve in the military, and we couldn't be happier to know that you, our listeners, are here with us on this journey. Thank you, and may God bless America and God bless our veterans on this day of remembrance.
This has been a Walk with History production. Talk with History is created and hosted by me, Scott Benny. Episode researched by Jennifer Benny. Check out the show notes for links and references mentioned in this episode. Talk with History is supported by our fans at thehistoryroadtrip.com. Our eternal thanks to those providing funding to help keep us going. Thank you to Doug McLiverty, Larry Myers, and Patrick Benny. Make sure you hit that follow button in your podcast player, and we'll talk to you next time.